All right, good morning. Absolutely great morning. Good morning. It's 5:45 a.m. Sunday, June 23rd. I wanted to go live. I'm just waking up here really. Excuse the hair. I'm going live because I want to talk about supplements today for health and productivity. There are really, I think there's like three primary people that go into the health and fitness arena. They go into health and fitness. They want to get healthy, either just to get healthy and live longer because they're either getting older or they just recognize that as important. Some people want to lose weight, and some people want to gain muscle and for athletic or aesthetic appeal. Whatever those goals are, whatever which one of those three categories you belong to, there's a certain kind of supplementation regimen that I believe people are not aware of and need to be made aware. So everything I'm saying right now is based on more than 3 years of research on and personal testing for myself, things that I've done, peer-reviewed study, and so I'm going to get into it. But before I do, I'm obligated to say, don't replace this as medical advice and all that nonsense you hear all the time. I'm sorry, it's not nonsense. Don't replace what I say with as medical advice. Always seek your healthcare professional. Ask your doctor before taking supplements. Okay, ask your doctor before going for a walk. All right, call your doctor before you take a vacation or before you go to work every day. You get the idea. That's what you got to do because you don't know best. They know best. Remember that. All right. So the first thing that I wanted to benefit was the idea of focus and being productive at work because I work long, long hours. I used to work 10 hours a day. Now I work 11 to 15 hours a day quite regularly. So this this is the first thing I bought. It was called Qualia Focus. It's got a lot of nutrients in it. It's got vitamin C, vitamin D3. D3 is actually peer-reviewed studies are finding out D3 is a precursor which supports the development of testosterone. When you have more testosterone, you not only have a feeling of confidence and well-being and can gain muscle. They're finding out that it actually affects parts of the frontal lobe, which definitely affect cognition. They help you to think faster and more accurately. Then it goes through all the B complex vitamins. I see B2, B6, B12, B1, and let's see. There's one L-theanine, which is a dopamine precursor. That's good. There's one in here that was really interesting. Okay, ginkgo biloba leaf extract. Ginkgo biloba is one of the most ancient and oldest herbs on the planet, and its purpose basically is to increase and optimize blood flow all over your body, not just your brain. The brain needs these three things um, to do well. It needs oxygen, nutrients, and water. And it gets all of those things basically by blood. So if you open up arteries, like a clogged artery, someone with high bad cholesterol or a constricted artery, sometimes a constricted artery increases blood flow, but if it's permanently constricted because it's clogged from cholesterol, you're getting less blood flow and nutrients are slower to be delivered to the brain. You have reduced cellular function. So when you open up blood vessels and you get, you add another lane to the highway, so to speak, for nutrients to your brain, obviously you're going to have some noticeable benefits from that as far as cognition goes. Anyway, however, I stopped using that because the vitamin C that is in this is in the form of ascorbic acid. I'm reading it right now. And ascorbic acid is cornstarch based. And what that actually does is that form of vitamin C, believe it or not, actually depletes real vitamin C. That alone was actually enough to make me stop taking that product, and I replaced it with Brain Force, which I got from the Infowars store. And this is an amazing product. I've tried it now for the last 3 days, and I noticed immediate results. This is the most potent supplement for the brain I've ever taken. I'll get into that in a minute. But the main thing that it has in it is alpha GPC, which is basically a blood-brain barrier breaking form of choline. You do get choline from eggs and salmon and certain meats like that, but you don't get, it doesn't break the blood-brain barrier. I mean, it's almost like it's a big difference between me drinking a cup of coffee and injecting into my veins directly caffeine. Huge difference. That's what this does. This is like injecting choline into your brain. And let me tell you, I took this actually before I started making this video. I took one, which is half of the dose, and I'm just up. I mean, it's not even 6 a.m. and I'm just up. You know what I mean? So and this also does good for physical performance also. All right. Other vitamins. Let's see. Okay, so the four base vitamins everyone should be taking, whether you want health, productivity, or fitness: calcium, magnesium, zinc, and copper. If you have a deficiency in any one of these, or too much of any one of these, your whole system is actually out of whack constantly. Zinc, like D3, is another great testosterone builder for men. Iron, a lot of people who think they're anemic and need to take more iron probably don't. You probably need to take more calcium and potassium so that your body can utilize the iron it has in your system already, because iron actually accumulates over time. So those four base minerals, excellent for productivity and fitness. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is nascent iodine. I take it as a dropper form. Just one little drop. I think I might have talked about this a little bit before. So nascent iodine is one of the purest and simplest forms of iodine. A lot of people get their iodine sources from iodized salt or seafood. However, nascent iodine is a little bit better because it's atomic. And what that essentially means is you've got the atomic iodine and you've got the cell, and it can bind to the cell instantly. Your body doesn't have to do any breaking down in order to take advantage of nascent iodine. Primarily, nascent iodine is good for the thyroid, which regulates hormones. Your hormones need to be regulated if you want to experience health and fat loss, particularly insulin. For instance, when you eat any food, your insulin increases, but especially when you eat simple sugars or too many carbohydrates, your insulin spikes. Let me tell you something. Whenever you eat anything and whenever you have insulin in your system at all, fat burning completely stops. You might see people that just, you've probably heard them say, oh my God, if I just eat one thing bad, I gain 20 pounds. That's because you have developed something called insulin resistance. It's pre-diabetic, and most people have it. There are a lot of medical professionals that may not know this. I'm supposed to say may not know. But that's a condition of pre-diabetes. So anyway, the importance of balancing your hormones is obviously so that you can improve insulin resistance and begin to burn fat. Now, from a health perspective, even if you're not someone who's concerned with aesthetics or athletic performance, you still want to be able to burn fat. And you want to have approximately, if you're man, 10 to 15% body fat or less, but not too much less than 8. The reason is because toxins from the environment and things that you consume end up storing inside of fat cells, disease, cancer. Fat is a storage unit. Excuse me. So if there's anything bad that you've consumed at any point in your life, it's probably stored in your fat cells. So when you remove fat, obviously you also remove toxins in your body. that really is the truest form of detox there is. A lot of people like we'll talk about this in a second. A lot of people drink things like this for detox, but it's not like they think. Detoxing is literally the process of getting rid of fat cells which store disease. Otherwise, your liver and your kidneys, and between those organs and the way water is now, water's the cleanest it's really ever been in history right now, for the most part, at least in America and Europe. There's no real need to detox by consuming anything. That's just not even scientifically appropriate. But while we're on the topic of fat burning, I don't actually know all the details about why this works, but I've been consuming about just a sip of this twice a day, in the morning and in the evening, and it's given me more energy, and it's definitely contributed to burning fat. I think that this has to do with the fact, because there's not really any nutrients in apple cider vinegar. I think this has to do mostly with the fact that it makes your stomach and your intestines more acidic. And I've heard a lot of people say you don't want to be acidic, you want to be more alkaline. Well, what are you talking about? Your urine? Do you want that to be more alkaline? The your liver? Do you want that to be? What about your saliva? Your whole body is not supposed to be alkaline. Your stomach is supposed to be acidic so that it can break down food better and then get more nutrients from it. So if you hear anyone tell you you've got to be more alkaline, just make sure you look at that a little bit more thoroughly. Okay, so we went through 5 different supplement packages. I'll tell you a little bit about the price. The niacin actually the products I got from Infowars Life Store were the cheapest and the best. I mean, it was not even a comparison in price. The quality of thing, I actually suspended my subscription to this. It's not even nearly as effective as the Alpha GPC that's in Brain Force. It just really just doesn't even come close to what Alpha GPC does in that supplement. And the difference in price also between these two, you can't even compare. This cost me $75 a month. This cost me 20. And I think that's it. Granted, this is on sale right now. It's normally 40, but still, that's almost half as much as this. Not even a comparison. All right, there's one other thing about this one. There is something I also take here called pregnenolone. All right, let's see if you can see it there. Pregnenolone is a precursor. When your body takes pregnenolone, it gets to choose what to do with it based on what you need the most of. It can turn that into cortisol, which will help keep you more alert. Cortisol is a stress hormone. You want to keep those low as possible, but if you don't have enough of it, you also can't function either. It's the fight or flight hormone. So when you don't have enough cortisol, you're not alert. You need some of that all the time. So if you don't have enough of that and you take pregnenolone, your body will begin to use that to produce cortisol. It will also it has a preference for turning into progesterone, and it can certainly aid in your overall sense of well-being. It will give you energy, but not like caffeine. It's going to give you a very calm, centered, and focused energy. You will become very measured, and it will last the entire day. It's definitely a lot different than drinking a pot of coffee to get through the day. It's more just like you are, you are energy, and that's okay that you are energy because you have tons of it. It's very centered, and you'll feel great on it. The other thing pregnenolone does, which again, another Infowars product, I swear I'm not selling any of these. I'm just telling you what I take that's worked so far. It's called the Real Red Pill. This was $20 or $30. I can't remember. Another thing that does is it's also a precursor for testosterone production, or DHA, and it'll work. I've only taken the Infowars products for a couple of days, And I noticed that it just had a very instant dramatic effect. In fact, mistakenly, I actually took them at night before I was going to bed because my philosophy was, okay, while I sleep, the body's recovering. Let me help it recover better by giving it vitamins before I go to bed. Well, I actually could not sleep that night when I took them. And I not only could not sleep, but I was just so up and I wanted to do something. And I ended up working out for like 90 minutes just because I had all this extra energy. And then I went to work and I just didn't sleep and I didn't even need to sleep. It was really an amazing experience. Now, towards the end of the workday, I definitely started to crash, but otherwise, that was a clear indicator that those are high quality products. So, all right. What else? Okay, diet and exercise. We need to get into that. We need to talk about it. The rules are definitely changing as far as diet and exercise go when you want to be healthy. Um, it's very common for me to hear on a regular basis that if you want to build muscle, you need to eat tons of protein. That is just completely false information. You don't need to eat 7 steaks 3 times a day and get all your salmon and eggs in a blender so that you can consume 9,000 goddamn grams of protein. I mean, that's ridiculous. Let me tell you the truth. Most people in this country are almost never going to have a deficiency in protein, even if they tried to have one. You have enough protein to build muscle, I promise you. What you need more of is fat, and you need healthy fat. You can get healthy fats from peanuts, avocados, uh, mayonnaise for egg salad. I do that all the time. And you need way more vegetables, such as kale and broccoli. Kale and broccoli. Kale is it's probably the best source of vitamin C you'll ever find. It's an amazing source of vitamin K, which I don't know what that does, but it's probably important. I forgot what vitamin K's purpose was, but I know it's good for something, so might as well. Anyway, it's a food source that's really good. So way more vegetables, way more fat. Yeah, get a little bit of protein from peanuts and sardines, maybe like fish, legumes like such as beans, definitely. But that's enough. That's enough protein. You don't need to go crazy on the protein. What you need to go crazy on is how you're lifting weights. Which another dumb thing I hear all the time is you've got to do 3 sets of 12 for whatever the fuck you're doing. That's absolutely ridiculous. The way muscle works is you have to break it down. You put micro tears and you break your muscle. You destroy your muscle when you work out, and then you recover in your sleep. Okay. Well, 3 sets of 12 may not necessarily break down your muscles enough. Here's when you know you've done the right workout. When you're doing a bicep curl, all right, that's rock solid. All right, just so you know, I know what I'm talking about. When you do a bicep curl and the last rep you do feels like you are lifting a car, that's when you know you've done the right workout. Let's just listen to your body. You have to lift until and the heaviest weight you can lift, but not over that limit. And you have to keep on lifting that weight until you physically cannot lift that weight anymore. You're telling your body when you do this that it needs to prepare to be able to do this regularly. Okay, that's why consistency is also important. That's how you build muscle. It's not necessarily by eating, 20 steaks every 4 hours, 6 times a day. All right. And when you do build muscle, you become more metabolically expensive. What that means is your body has more muscle to maintain. Um, and we'll talk about how it maintains with growth hormone in a minute. But because your body is bigger and is more expensive to maintain, it gets the extra energy from fat. Okay. After you've used up most of your fat and you're down to 10% body fat or less, then it's time to start thinking about increasing your protein intake. Does that make sense? Your body will literally get its protein from previous protein you've eaten over the years, which is now stored in your fat. Okay? That's how that works. Things not to eat ever: sugar, soda, and sugar and soda, really. Don't cut out sugar from simple sugars. Carbs, you should start to limit those, but not too much. All right. 50 to 150 carbs per day is more than enough. When you run out of carbohydrates for energy, your body doesn't just stop working, it just gets more energy from fat cells. Again, this is how you burn fat. Because you can lose weight without burning fat. You don't want to lose weight by muscle, but you want to lose it by burning fat. The way you do that is you consume less carbohydrates, and then glycogen, which is stored in the liver, it'll start to go there for its next energy source after it's out of carbohydrates and break down glycogen in your liver. After it depletes glycogen, which it takes like 16 hours to do from your last meal, it then goes to fat. All right. So this is why intermittent fasting has become so popular, because intermittent fasting literally means you always spend at least 16 hours not eating, which means for a portion of every day, no matter what you eat, your body will for certain burn fat. If you want to amplify this, and I highly recommend doing this, is you make a very, very big 2,000 calorie meal with all the nutrients you're going to need for the day, and you just eat once a day. All right. Now, if you need 2,000 calories, such as the daily recommended value of calorie intake, if you need 2,000 calories, there's no reason why you can't just put all that in one meal. If your digestive system doesn't have to work all day, guess what another side benefit is? You have more energy, because more than about 2/3 of all energy expenditure goes to digestion when it has to work. So eating one meal a day is very good. It'll restore insulin resistance. You'll no longer be pre-diabetic. If you're a type 2 diabetic already, you will improve dramatically. And yeah, you do get the other benefits of burning fat faster. You also get the benefit of not being as hungry, believe it or not. When you eat one meal a day, you actually are considerably less hungry than normal. So those are all good things. Okay, what about cardio? Should I be doing cardio? No, not really. You should be doing cardio, but not like you think. When I say no, not really, I mean, yes, you should do very intense cardio, but not for hours and hours. All right. You shouldn't be running 6 and 7 miles. You should be doing very intense cardio for about 15 to 20 minutes. Most of your physical fitness will actually come, even if you're a woman, by the way, from heavy weight lifting. If you want to tone up, you need to lift the heaviest weights you can lift. If the only thing you do is burn fat and get skinny, but you're not exercising your legs and your gluteus maximus, and you're just going to have a skinny, flabby butt, you're not going to look good. Trust me. You're just going to be skinny fat, and it looks absolutely terrible. Even if you're a woman, perhaps especially if you're a woman, you need to be lifting heavier weights. I know that sounds contradictory to everything that you've heard, but if you want the aesthetic appeal that you're looking for, that is what you have to do. And don't worry, you're not going to look like a bodybuilder if you are a woman lifting heavy weights. You would literally need 10 times more testosterone than you can ever produce to get nearly as much muscle as any man. If you see a female bodybuilder that looks like it, she's doing steroids, 110%. Men, same thing. If you want to tone up, it's no different. You need to be lifting heavy weights, at least for a time. If you only do cardio, yeah, you're burning calories, but your body is going to contour to whatever muscle it has left after it's done burning fat. And if you don't have any muscle, you're just going to look like an alien. That's just going to be weird. All right. So, okay, that was a lot to cover in 25 minutes. So hopefully this has been valuable to you. Please share this if it has been. There's not a link to buy anything in the description. This is strictly informative because I think that people need to know this information. It's been working for me, and I want people to be more productive. So this will help. This will help that for sure. All right. Until then, Globodime next. Thank you very much.